everybody, welcome back to my studio. This is Emma, and it just seems like absolutely ages since I last talked to you. It seems like 100 years. I don't know why, it's really weird. I did a film for you last week that I filmed at our exhibition, our Fabricate exhibition, and I got lots of nice comments, so thank you very much. It seems to have gone down quite well. I hope you enjoyed it. The exhibition, if you're able to come and visit us, is on till I think the 4th of September, so that's very exciting. And it was just so nice to be back with my fellow friends, my friends and artists, what do you call them? Fellow artists, yes, that's who we are. We are fellow artists. And it was just great to be back with them, setting up an exhibition. It was almost like nothing had happened, and yet the world has turned upside down since we last met. So that was that. As I say, thank you so much for your lovely comments. It was really heartwarming and gratifying that you enjoyed watching the video, and I will pass the comments on to my friends. Nicole, if you're watching, I'm so sorry. I tried to reply to your comments because I do like to reply to everybody and have a bit chat, and for some reason I couldn't get back to you, so I apologise for that, and thank you very much. You left me a lovely comment, thank you. So where do I go from here? I've tidied my studio up a bit, and that feels really good, because when you set up for an exhibition, your studio tends to be the place that ends up in a complete hoolie, because you're trying to work out what you're taking, and you know, and you've got to make lists, and you've got to take tools with you and all sorts of stuff that you just wouldn't believe unless you've done this yourself, and then you'll understand. You may notice there's a little something else over here has appeared over here, because my wave, my beautiful blue wave, is in the exhibition. So I thought I'll pop this over here. This is a sort of a vase thing that I did with like felt poppies on. I'll just give you a close up of this if I can. This was just, I did this for a window display for somebody, and it was just meant to be poppies. It wasn't meant to be anything special or clever. I just used my embellisher and made these pretty red poppies, and I put it onto this sort of straw because it felt like it was poppies in a field. So it's a bit sort of abstracty, but you know, hey, bit of fun, bit of colour, and I thought, well, it's quite appropriate because the poppies are out in the garden and stuff, so it's quite nice to have a change. I've hardly got anything blue left in here, it's really weird. I put a mixture of old and new things into the exhibition, and that's just been great to do. So what I've got for you today is I did some butterflies for a window display for somebody, and for a thing that we do locally. And so I thought I'd show you today how I went about making them. I used lots of really lovely colourful fabrics, lots of pretty colours, because I thought I wanted them to be nice and summery. I chose butterflies as my theme because I felt like butterflies are I don't know, they're a sign of hope, aren't they, and a sign of transformation, and I just thought there would be something cheerful to hang in a window. And I love the way they can float in the breeze, the way I did them. I hung them on some nylon cords and fishing wire that I had in. So I was really pleased with those. So a little butterfly template, which is now full of pinholes. And what I used to make them stiff to hang was I don't know how many of you used this before, this is soluble paper. Okay, it just looks and feels like a sort of weird softish paper, almost like photography paper, if you've ever used matte photography paper. So I keep all my soluble stuff. Okay, this is a hot tip. I keep all my solubles in a plastic bag so that it reduces the risk of damp or anything getting to them, so they don't start solubilizing and disappearing. This is really easy to use. You just use it like you'd use any other fabric, really. You just put your fabrics on top, and it makes a nice stiff, oh, isn't that a nice sound? It makes a nice stiff base for you to put your fabrics on and then embroider. And I kind of layered things, as you'll see when I show you the next bit of videos. And then you wet it. You wet it and you wash away as much as you want to. You'll see it disappear. It kind of just disappears in front of your eyes. But you can, where you've stitched, it does tend to stay around your stitch lines and things. And if you add fabric in as well, that means it'll stay too. So it's a question of how you use it, and be aware that it will remain white. It's not like using a soluble fabric that disappears completely. The paper does stay, and you can actually make use of that. I mean, I use it to make. Oh, I made these beautiful shoes which sit behind me, pride of place. These were like a pair of wedding shoes that I made, and these are made with soluble paper, but with fabrics added into the mix. I can't think of any other way to say it than that. So very useful to have in your repertoire should you require it. So I think I'm just going to get on and show you how to do these butterflies, and I hope you'll enjoy it. Don't forget to like the film if you like it, and don't forget to subscribe please, because that helps me grow my channel, and it's lovely. I've got like lots of people subscribing now, and it's just great because that means more people can get to see my videos. It comes up, I think, more on when people are looking, or it comes up on your wish list or whatever. I don't know, I don't really know how YouTube works. It's quite magic. I just make films and put them out there, and fingers crossed, hope for the best. And I'm just so enjoying it. I just love doing this. I love sharing these things with you, and if it gets you inspired to make something, that's brilliant. And as I say, it's really nice. I feel like we're kind of building a little community here, which is really special. So there we go. I'm going to stop talking and show you the videos. Okay, so I'm going to be using this soluble paper here. I'm trying not to use soluble fabrics at the moment until I can find one that's made of something a bit more environmentally friendly. And I know that this, even if I wash it down the sink, I can actually trap some of it, because I've got like those mesh sink traps. So if there's any paper goes down, I don't know that there's any glue in this. I'm not really sure. So so I'm using paper anyway. Also, I do know it has a nice effect, because I made some of these butterflies a few years ago. So this top layer is made with some lace, some lovely yellow lace that I put onto the paper and then stitched round. You can see a little bit of my stitching there going around like that, I think. Yeah, you can see it there. And then it's got other layers of other fabrics, and it's got some little antennae there that are sort of waggling around in the breeze. So I know that this works, and it's got a nice ephemeral quality. I quite like the paper. It's got a nice feel to it, and it also does make quite a nice stiff butterfly. So anyway, I've got my pattern here, and I'm not going to draw around it, because I did once draw around with it in pencil when I was making some paper shoes and some pale things, and I ended up with paper, with like pencil, graphite, whatever, getting onto the finished pieces. So I'm not going to do that with this. Obviously, because it's a soluble thing, you can't really draw on it with, well, I suppose you could try it with a soluble pen, but I'm just going to do it like this. I'm going to cut the fabrics roughly to this size, and then I'm going to pin the paper pattern on, and I'm going to stitch around the paper pattern. You can see already where I've been doing some sewing already, because it does catch the edges sometimes, but that doesn't really matter. I can always make another paper pattern. So I will get some of the fabric I'm going to use. I've done a yellow one already with this lovely yellow lacy stuff. I've done one with some pink and orange organza, which I put together. Here we go. I did a layer of pink and a layer of this orangey colour. So I'm going to see what that's like. I'm just kind of experimenting. I don't quite know 100% how they're going to turn out. The other thing I was going to do, I've got some of this fabric, which is quite nice as well. A sort of slightly lacy fabric, which I thought, whoops, it's all got stuck to itself. So I might use some of that as well. But I thought the first one I'm going to do is one made with this, which is really pretty. And you see what happens with the paper is it kind of meshes with this lace. It meshes with it and leaves just enough of it, just enough paper and just enough lace. It's quite a nice combination. And as I say, I've done it with the yellow, so I'm going to try it with the pink. So we'll just cut around this here roughly. And any little scraps, as you know, I will take and use with my embellisher. There you go. Okie dokie. Right, so that's going to be pinned now. So I'm going to just get rid of those bits. So this is going to be pinned onto here. Doesn't really matter where it goes exactly. With the paper pattern on top. And then I'm doing some very simple machine embroidery today. For once, I'm actually going to be sort of embroidering a shape, because often, as you will know from watching my channel, I do a lot of, I don't know, just random, what I call random stitching, just sort of random stitching to create texture and create colour and mix things. And but today I'm actually going to be stitching all the way around here, and I will do a little bit of sort of squirrely stuff as well, because what you need to do with this paper is you have to make sure that there's enough of it stitched so that it doesn't just all fall off when you dissolve it. You've got to leave enough stitching to hold some of it in place, like I did with this. I'll just show you the butterfly again, like I did with this. As I say, you can see the swirls that I did, and there's quite a bit of paper left there. I think you can see there's quite a bit of paper. It depends how much you dip it in the water. You can either soak it in water, or I think these ones, I just let them run under a gentle tap, running, you know, turn the water tap on and just let it run slowly through. And you can see there's little gaps where the paper's disappeared altogether, and that's quite a nice effect. So you get just the lacy bits showing through, but that'll be where it's kind of the tap has run the water straight directly onto it. It's really funny because it goes all mushy when you do it under the tap, and it goes really, well, it's just paper pulp basically. It returns to paper pulp. So anyway, let's get this under the sewing machine, get a bit of stitching done. Okay, so I've got my machine set up as per usual for free machine embroidery. Sorry if you've heard this a million times, but it's for those people who've perhaps just joined me here and perhaps haven't done free machine before. I lower the feed dog teeth underneath here, so there's nothing to catch on my fabric, and I've got a lovely little, this is called a darning foot, an embroidery foot, and I also lower my top tension on my machine a little bit because that's what my machine likes, but you must do what's right for your machine. And also I put the stitch length onto 0 because that means I'm controlling what it's going to do, but you must put your presser foot down. That's the most important thing. So basically what I'm going to do is just try and go around the outside of this without stitching through the paper. So this is just a slow and steady job. This is not one for rushing. And as I say, I'm quite likely to stitch through the paper a bit, but I'm not worried about that. And I'm not worried if it's a bit wonky either. I don't often do things where I've just got to keep a shape these days. It's a little bit tricky to keep hold of this because it's paper, there's nothing really to sort of hold it. And before anybody asks, am I using a special needle? I'm not. I generally keep one needle for doing paper, but to be honest, because this is soluble, I'm not too worried. It goes through very easily. If I was stitching through this, that would be a different kettle of fish, as they say. So it's just a question of slow and steady. There we go, and a couple of little stitches to finish off with. Okay, so we'll just pull that out and cut the threads. I'm going to cut them as close in as I can, so I haven't got loads of threads trailing everywhere. Okay, so on the back there you can see I've got the outline of the butterfly now. That's on the reverse side. Look at my poor old machine. The paint keeps flaking off, so I just keep putting more and more masking tape on. But you know what? It's just the most wonderful machine, this. It's very, very simple. And it's really so lovely to use for all of this that I do. Let's just try and, as I say, I've probably stitched it down a little bit, so we'll just pull the pattern off. There we go. So actually, I think this is, because this is quite a busy, what I might do is I might stitch it from the other side, because I don't know about you, but that's a bit eye-boggling. So what I could do, you see, is I can turn this over like that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all stitch a little body on it. Now you could, again, you could draw this on, but you know, don't do it in pencil because it'll show up. It's possible to, you might be able to do it with a soluble pen, I don't know, but it might just solubilize the paper, so I'm just going to do it by eye. It's all going to come out, it's all going to be covered in this papery stuff eventually anyway, so whatever you do, it won't look too bad. Now then, again, now this is where some of you might want to draw things out. I can understand that, but I'm quite good at just kind of guessing where it's going to go. And I've done a few of these now, so I know roughly what I want. So I'm just doing some simple little swirly things. These are not meant to be realistic butterflies, okay? These are just my take on a pretty little butterfly made with lace and net. So you could do another one off that. Actually, I might do one there as well. Actually, I'll do another little one off there. My intention with the stitching is that it helps keep the paper on the butterfly so that I don't lose it all when I wash it off. And the stitching will show through partly. They're a bit of an experiment because I haven't done them this size before. So I think we'll go down to this bit here, and which way should we do this one? I think we'll do this one kind of going like this, and make it go round and round like this. Now you can see how wonky that is, okay, but when it's covered with the paper, and because I'm going to do it several times, it'll look fine. So if you stitch too slowly, as I've done a bit there, you get these very straight jaggedy edges a little bit, so it's better to run your machine a bit faster. But I'm still moving the fabric quite slowly, so that I've still got control. Although the machine runs fast, I've actually got control, kind of. With the paper, this paper and fabric combination is a little bit slidey. So there we go. I'm going to stitch the other side, and then I'll show you it when it's finished. And the challenge will be to see if I can get it roughly the same as that. Again, this is where probably drawing it out would be sensible, but you know what, I like living dangerously. Dilly bomb. So, right, okay. So I've got various pairs of scissors here today. I've got my fabric scissors, and I've got this pair which I use for cutting paper with. Ideally, they're not brilliant for fabric, but they'll cut through this, I'm hoping. So you can see that's what it looks like from the lacy side, and when this paper is dissolved and it kind of comes through the lace a little bit more, I'm hoping it'll knock back some of the lace a bit. I think like it does on here, you end up with the paper kind of on both sides with some of the stitching and some of the lace showing through. So the other side, you can see I've kind of copied one to the other side. I've kind of done that the wrong way around, but you know what, I'm not really too worried, because as I say, when push comes to shove, it'll look fine. When it's hanging up, nobody's going to notice. So that's my deliberate mistake for the day, everybody. Nobody's perfect. So this centre bit, this is the body I've got here. Here's one I made earlier. I have a little paper pattern that I made, and I have got here a piece of lovely fabric which I thought would look nice on this side. Goes nicely with that pink, it's quite sharp together. And I've ironed on the back of here some Bondaweb, which is a glue that comes in sheets on with a paper backing, and I'm sure there will be other brands available. It's called fusible, what's it called? Fusible bonding or fusible webbing or something. When you can see there where I haven't kind of ironed it on very well there, you can see it's kind of coming off. It's a bit like sort of very fine spider's web or something. So I would pull that off, but first of all I'm going to draw around it with a pencil when I find my pencil, which is just hiding from me. Go and find my pencil.
ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba.